Carmen Barrientos, did I get that right? The Program Support Officer from Save the Children International in Peru.
So, before I introduce the International Declaration reader, which is Ella, I want to talk to you a little bit about youth participation. Now, I want to share with you a phrase that I heard from the youth that I was working with in Peru. A phrase that has stayed with me and that made me reflect a lot. And it goes as follows. Youth are the present. By you saying that we're the future, you're making us invisible. Now, while contemplating this phrase, I realized that they're right. Unfortunately, many of our societies are adult-centered, and where adults make all the decisions about issues that actually affect everyone, without taking into consideration the opinions of youth, children, or even the elderly sometimes. We live in societies where youth are undervalued, and their opinions are undervalued as well many times, where we lack spaces where they can actually discuss about the issues that are affecting them, but also work together to actually find solutions towards these issues. Now, I will always believe that youth participation is very important. But I also believe that many times youth abilities are underestimated. I never understood the level until I was able to see what youth can accomplish when given the guidance, the opportunity, and the space to express themselves. While in my internship in Peru, I saw children and youth participating with authorities, doing walks, creating youth councils, being in public awareness activities about different issues that affect them, and even demanding the local authorities for recreational spaces, which many times they actually got. However, one of the accomplishments that inspired me the most was that within the mountainous regions in Peru, in a city called Ayacucho, where the program Children Lead the Way works, children and youth there determined that one of their biggest issues was the high rates of violence. But more than that, was not having a place where to report these cases where child rights were broken and where law will actually do a follow-up. Thanks to the empowerment, the companionship, and the space where they could voice their opinions, they were able to organize themselves and demand their local authorities for a place where they could report all these cases of violence, for a place where their child rights will be protected and will be respected. Now, thanks to their initiative, they now count with the first place in the region, Children and Youth Center, where they could actually report these cases. And it's now running. A center that helps protect children's rights. Now, for many of us here in Canada, or in any other developed country, that might not be something that we will think about usually because it's something that's already in place. But for countries where child rights are not respected, or even human rights in general, or maybe they have protection systems for their rights, but they're not executed or implemented as they should, this is a big accomplishment. Not just that, for me, this is a clear example of how youth are the present and not the future. And that when given the empowerment, the guidance, the support, and the spaces to voice their opinions, they're able to change the world. Now, I had the opportunity and the honor to work with the youth from the program Children Lead the Way in Peru, and was with them also at a national conference. And later on, had the opportunity to be at an international youth conference that was hosted here in Canada by Save the Children Canada. Now, this was a space that brought together youth and children from two different continents, and 7 different countries. This was a space where these youth were able to discuss their issues and voice their opinions. And together, they worked on creating an international declaration on the issues and priorities of youth. Within this declaration, they talk about issues such as participation, discrimination and violence, dignified work, the environment, and education. However, one of the issues and priorities that, in my opinion, is one of the most important ones is that, and it should be actually a goal, and even probably included in the Sustainable Development Goals, is the knowledge and understanding of human rights, including child rights and women's rights. Because without this basic knowledge around the world, in communities where we want change, change becomes a little more difficult, or a lot, depending on the situation. Now, I have the honor of introducing you to Ella. Ella was one of the participants that helped write this declaration and was also representing Canada in the International Youth Conference. So I would like to call Ella up on stage so she could share with us this international declaration that was written in this conference.
Thanks, Carmen. So I'm Ella. I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to read the international declaration that we wrote. We were, all of us, from me, another youth representative from Canada, representatives from Bolivia, Burkina Faso, Kenya, Nicaragua, Paraguay, and Peru. We all worked really hard on this, and we were all very proud of it at the end because it affected all of the youth who worked on it in different ways, and it meant a lot to everyone. So I'm just going to start reading it. So we, children, need to know, understand, and demand our rights in order to guarantee that they are enforced and implemented. It is the government, society, and everyone's responsibility to implement, enforce, and fulfill our rights. We want spaces where children and youth have a voice and are involved as leaders in decision-making on matters that affect our lives and benefit us. We, children, demand dignified work and healthy working conditions, equal work for equal pay, and work that does not harm our physical, psychological, verbal, or sexual integrity. We demand a working environment with no discrimination that considers our rights. We recognize the importance of work because it helps us become better people. We children recognize the existence of discrimination and violence, whether it is political, social, economic, racial, linguistic, cultural, or religious, at home or in school. We dream of a world that is free of discrimination and violence. We need a society that is free of violence, that has equity and fairness, where we are treated properly and our grievances are taken into account. We children require quality education in all areas. We want our rural communities to have access to schools with good infrastructure that adapt with time, where children have an opportunity to reach their full potential. We demand quality education that allows us to explore our talents and abilities. It is the government's responsibility to reinforce and implement our rights. We also demand that society supports access to all forms of education. Human beings need Mother Earth, and it is our responsibility to protect, conserve, and take care of it in order to maintain a clean and healthy environment. We also need the government and society to be responsible for taking care of the environment. Without the Earth, there is no work or life, so to say no to environmental exploitation. So that's the international declaration that we all worked on. We worked very hard on it, and I personally learned a lot from the experience, and I gained a lot of perspective on stuff that I don't experience here in Canada, where children are very privileged. And I learned so much, and I made lots of great friends, and it was an amazing opportunity, and I'm very thankful that I got the chance to attend that conference. So So thank you.